Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever you're watching this video. I appreciate the support, cuzzies. My name is Joe Josh. I go by iChart Daily. Today is Wednesday, April 17, 2024. Wanted to give you another quick update video on Bitcoin. We are now down $2,000. We have broken the first support level. Poo-poo's hitting the fan and people are going crazy. So I figured I'll give you a little update video. So first things first, before I start, this is not financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. This is a window to my thought process that I've been doing for 17 years now. I've been in crypto for over 10 years and have experienced multiple cycles and happenings. So first things first, in order for this to really be a continual, let me back test, right? There are a couple things that I look for to see if this is going to be a continuation to the upside or if the blood is officially upon us. Meaning, when I say that, the first thing you have to look at is the market structure. Are we going to make another higher low and continue to the upside, right? What do I mean by that? The last lows were here, 50,438. So we could come all the way down, touch this level over here, form a higher low to this one over here and this one over here, which shows us we potentially could come back up or potentially even come back up and break this level. So that's first things first, getting everybody off the ledge real quick. Another thing that I like to use is the 11 and 21 day moving average on the weekly time frame. They give you a good visual on where support levels are going to be on the way up. You could see support, 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 right? Support. We're here. So that's why I have these alerts here at 60,006 and 50,008.9 because I want to see if we officially break this wick and this wick here, and that will show us that the next support level is going to be the 21 moving average around this level here that I said yesterday, around that 53,000 to potentially 50,000. Now everything happens in waves. It's not just going to go right there. It will go down in waves. Like you can see here, waves, right? Everything will happen in waves. So the next wave that I'm looking at is this daily time frame. This looks like a descending triangle. Yesterday we had a very small pump in the market, a small dead cat bounce. As of right now, you can see we have come down and we are seeing buying pressure at the 60,006, the same way we saw it here and the same way we saw it here. This measured move would take us from here, and if and when the breakdown does happen, down to your first liquidation zone here, 57,520 down to 56,7 right here, 773. That is your next spot. Now, I don't know if we're going to come back up over the next day or two. Like I said, I don't know if we're going to break out of this and then potentially form another lower high and do the same thing and then eventually break over here. That's why I have my alerts. I do see that we're having major selling pressure right now. And the first thing that I looked at, if you remember in yesterday's video, was this weekly RSI. I want to see if the market structure stays intact, right? The market structure was forming higher lows, higher highs, right, this whole time. Technically, this is your last low. We now officially broke it. The alert just went off. That's why I'm making this video. What that tells me is that there is room to bleed to the next support levels. If there's room to bleed to be oversold again, well, then that means price action should follow. Now, as I double click and I look out, you can see here the MACD, right? MACD volume is coming down. Looks like we're on the cusp of a potential death cross. Now, the last time this happened, it did not death cross, okay? We actually came down, went to the moving average, went to the rounding bottom, and we came back up. So I'm curious to see if we have this blood, we come back down to the 58.5, and we see this wick. We see major buying pressure. If we see major buying pressure, this will make a lower low. This will well, not technically death cross, but it still shows us that we could be extremely oversold at this rounding bottom again, something like this, right? How we had this little blippy blip down, we can have this little blippy blip down, and if I don't know, right? I don't know if we stop there or if we fall through there. That's the thing. As of right now, it's like an 80-90% chance that we do fall through, and we at least go to the first level of 57.8 to 56.7. Now, another thing I want to tell you is if someone says that's absolutely impossible, there's no way, the Bitcoin halvings in 2-3 days, there's no way, Joe, there's no way, right? You just got to look left, bro, right? This last consolidation was a healthy 22% consolidation, right? If we do the same thing now from here to here, that's a healthy 21 to 22% correction, right? From here to here was what? A healthy 21 to 22% correction, right? What was this? This was a healthy 19% correction. What was this? This was a healthy 22% correction. So, if we go down 22% and we bottom at the 58,000 to the 56,000 and we see support still above the rounding bottom, then that shows me that we could potentially have a short-term bottom there. Now, this is chess and pure speculation. I don't know if we do this and then come back up and then do this. I don't know if we do this, come here, and then come back up into the trend. If we come back up into the trend, we have potential to come back up to resistance of 71.2. Now, if we continue making lower highs to this right here, this one was 73.9, this one was 72.9. If we come all the way back up to 71.9 and continue forming lower highs, then that shows me eventually this might be that apex moment where we break down again. Okay, so we could do something like this, stay in this area, still form bearish divergence, and then eventually we break back down to the 57,000, but it is now after the rounding bottom. Okay, once again, the rounding bottom thing, the trends change all the time, right? Rounding top here, right? This was a rounding top, went here, right? This is a huge rounding bottom. The rounding top ended when we formed this little upward rising channel, right? This rounding bottom will end once we break support. We haven't broken it yet. So as of right now, we're going to respect it, right? So we're here. Here's the current trend, right? This is what I'm seeing. We could get rid of this. We know where support is. Actually, I'll still keep it just because we're here. All right, but this is what I'm seeing. A descending triangle that eventually could break down, bring us to the 59,000 to the 57,000. Then I want to see what happens here if we have a breakdown and then a retest of what was support. Does it turn into resistance? Do we come back down, see major buying pressure, and brings us back into the trend, showing us that we have a ton of room to go back to resistance, right? Those are chess moves. I'm just obviously giving a window to my thought process. As of right now, it doesn't look good, right? We're in section B. We're in section B, meaning the MACD is breaking down below the histogram. The RSI was now below the moving average and below the 50 line, showing us that this could be just a continuation to the downside, right? When you're above, it's a continuation to the upside. When you're below, it's a continuation to the downside. And once again, the next chart I will be watching is this one. I'm curious if we break this level right here. You could see right here was clear resistance, right? Once, twice. I'm curious to see if the blood stops here at the 63 and we have a little dead cat bounce. If we break this, I'm going to put an alert here. If we break this level, then I know there's a ton of room to go from here to here, right? And the reason why I say that is you can see that's the next support level, right? So I'm looking for zones. We go from here to here. If we go from 63 to 53, that shows me that we are breaking down to that 57 to 55,000 level. Sorry. Right there. right? And that shows me that there's room to bleed, and that shows me that we are breaking the 60,000, and you'll be at the 58,000 to the 56,000. Now, I want to end the video with this, because this is simple, right? I mean, we knew this was happening literally a week ago because we're getting bearish divergence on the indicators. I want you guys to learn something, right? Regardless of the news, I trust charts over people. The chart was telling me a week ago, yo, something's happening, bro, right? And I said it. I said it in yesterday's video. There needs to be fear in the market in order to cause chaos, in order to cause the blood. And it happened, right? It happened. Someone yesterday in the Discord, shout out to them, love them, appreciate the support. They were like, Joe, how is this possible that we're having all this blood and a lot of the alts are near their last lows? They're not, right? I want to show you something. Right? I'm not going to get into a full technical analysis on XRP, but I want to show you something. The last lows were here, brother. Okay? I want everyone to understand that. We went from $2, let's just say $2 down to 29 cents, from 29 cents to 95 cents. We are now at 48 cents. Unfortunately, the chart does not care about your emotions. The chart can come all the way back down to like 35 cents and still form a higher low. That is a factual information right there, right? A higher low is a higher low. This goes here at 28 cents, goes to here, higher macro low at 33 cents. How is that possible, Joe? Why would you even say something like that? Let's look at Ethereum the last cycle. Right, I'm not going to go into a full technical analysis, but let's look at Ethereum. Right, Ethereum fell. How much? If you've been following this channel, how much do you think the altcoins fall during the bear market? It's like 85 to 95%. Some fall 99%, right? So this baby fell 94%. Okay, that's what the news will tell you. They won't tell you that it went up 19,000%. They'll just tell you that it crashed, right? Not a consolidation. If they use the right terminology, then this is a consolidation. 19,000% up, 90% down, still forms higher lows, right? So, but the point I'm trying to say is, well, this was the last cycle, right? We went down 90-something percent. We went up, let's just say 280 to 350%. And then we came down a lot. We came down almost 60 to potentially, we're not going to count the cough, jab era of our lives. We'll just do a regular consolidation of 60. Let's just say 50 to 60%. Don't count the jab. Even though it did form a higher low. Does everyone see that? Low, $81. Technically, this was the real low, 117, even though you had the wicks down because of the jab. But yes, this is a higher low, a healthy higher low, showing you that the next wave, right, that goes up formed a higher high. And then we formed a higher low, and then we formed a higher high. So let's go to where we are now. Right, and let's just say this was, what, 150. This was 260, and this was 350 something percent. That's pretty wild, right? How it lines up like that. And that's why I get like sarcastic, because if you have previous price data that lines up with total confluence of what I'm telling you right now, like Bitcoin coming down 21-22%, Bitcoin coming down 21-22%, Bitcoin coming, this is stuff my 7-year-old could figure out, right? This is just, come on, follow the pattern, little guy, right? Now this one, we went up, we come down, we made a higher low. We went up, we come down, we form a higher low. Anything higher than 863 to technically 1,000 to 1,100 is a higher low on the macro, right? High, low, somewhere over here. So now let's line up the numbers and see if there's any coinky dinky, right? 364. What was this one? 350. Pretty crazy, right? So now, if it did the same thing, it just took longer, right? Now let's just take from the wick to the bottom. Don't count the jab, right? 67, but that's the greed level. Let's just go to the top of the candles. Let's just say 60%. Let's just not go to the bottom. Let's go to the meat and potatoes. Let's just say 50%. 50%, right? We're here right now. Okay? From the high, if we go down to these support levels, I could have called that out perfectly. This is your major liquidation zone. So let's just say right about there, right? You had previous support back in 2021 around the 1781 down to the 1481, okay? And you would have a 60% consolidation. Most important thing though, if we don't break this low here, 1545, and we stop at like the 1656, it's a healthy consolidation. It's a healthy consolidation. You're the one that got in at the wrong time. This is why I have rules that I'm trying to teach you guys. Rule number 1, I don't chase green candles. Green candles. What come after green candles? Red candles, right? And you shouldn't chase red candles. You should wait to see wicks form a bottom, look at the MACD, see the RSI, evaluate your chart. Are you in section A, section B? What's the long-term trend? Where are we on the moving averages? And then you put in your play. We don't buy assets on long-term charts that are close to the 70. What happens every time we're close to the 70? There was a consolidation thereafter. And RSI literally tells you overbought, oversold, right? So now I start looking at stuff like this and I automatically see, well, we had support, higher low, right? Went up, came down, higher low. And if I just extend it, right? And we have a little, I don't know, 50, 60%, 45%. Right, we're post-halvening. The news is going to tell you it's the best thing since sliced bread. So maybe we do 45%, right? Something like that, 46%. Maybe we form a higher low. What do you think we form the higher low? I've been doing this for 17 years, but if you had to guess, right, if we stopped here, went up, and then we stopped here and went up, and then we stopped here and went up, where do you think it went? Where do you think we're going to? Like maybe like right here, right? So, and this is how I make videos and call stuff that could happen months in advance. Months, right? Because now all I'm doing is looking left. And now let's play devil's advocate, right? Let's compare apples to apples. Well, we're at the 50, we're at the 50, we're on the cusp of a death cross. Okay. What needs to happen in order to break this uptrend, right, is to break the 50 line. If we have a death cross and we break the 50 and the RSI is in section B on the weekly, well, what happens? We went from 38.68 to 2104. I'm just curious, right? Just curious if that's a 45%. This is not pre-planned, cuzzies. I had no idea that was going to be 45%. And this is how you understand that maybe it's not a 60% correction, maybe it's a 45%. Right? So what's the most important thing that needs to happen? Well, MACD went, I'm going to set an alert on the RSI at, let's just say, the 5111. Now, you could go here, go to bars pattern, and then you could actually see what would it look like visually. And what do you know? We come right back down to that 2158, potentially 2000. We have a 45% correction. We form a higher low, right? That right here is a higher low to this one here. This one here is a higher low to this one here. This one here is a higher low to this one here. And if we form a higher low, then that shows me that we potentially could come back up and break this, right? And then we would have to maybe do something like this. Right, I'm curious, like that, right? So we come down to the 2500 level, this level right here, right? We have a dead cat bounce because Ethereum just went from 4,000 to 2,500. We have a dead cat bounce, but if we break the 50, we break that and come back into this trend using what was support as previous support. I didn't want to break it down. I just wanted to show you how I do this, bro, right? Like there's no textbook on learning what to do. You just have to look left, see what's going on, trust charts over people, understand that if it's happened once, it could happen again. I don't care what anyone says, and that's it, baby. I hope you guys learned something from these videos. I didn't want to do an Ethereum update, but I was looking at the chart, and when someone says we're close to the last, no, we're not. Bro, the last lows were literally 987. We're still up 200% from the previous lows. Love you guys. I really hope you learned something. If you do learn something and you appreciate this content, like, comment, subscribe. Help me grow this channel. Besides that, enjoy the day.